All right, Orlando, Philly. Yesterday, I mentioned how the Sixers have become one of my favorite teams to watch here in the early part of the NBA season. But that was actually not why I chose to watch them yesterday. I was keyed in on the Orlando Magic, who are off to a 1-3 start. I really want to talk about some of their struggles. I have some thoughts about that here in a minute. Obviously, we're going to start with Philly because they won this game. But the Magic ran much better offense last night. They actually logged a 127 offensive rating. And so I have some stuff that I want to get into there because there were some interesting details in the way that they kind of got their offense going last night. But as a result of me keying in on that game, got to watch Philly again. As I mentioned, Philly's been one of my favorite teams to watch early. Philly wins this one 136 to 124. And like big kind of physical dynamic that stands out when you're watching. As big and as athletic as Orlando is, Philly looked like the much faster team in this game. And they cut the Magic to pieces. 27 transition points. They had a 159 offensive rating in transition. Super efficient there. And there's just this consistent dynamic with their perimeter players, with Maxey and Edgecombe and even Kelly Oubre, just cutting through Orlando's perimeter defense and either scoring in the lane or kicking out to shooters. Philly scored 25 points on isolation possessions in this game, including passes, and converted spot ups as a team at 1.44 points per possession, which is outrageously good. And there's just a lot of variety. Like Tyrese Maxey's frying everybody in the entire league. Like he's looking like some sort of freaky lightning fast version of Steph Curry to start the year. He's averaging 37 points per game on 62% true shooting. He's shooting 46% off the catch. He's shooting 46% off the dribble, so there's no drop off. Remember, that was a kind of a connection that he struggled with in the past, where he'd be really good off the catch, but he'd struggle off the dribble. He's got that off the dribble efficiency up to where his off the catch efficiency is. He's shooting 60% on floaters, which is making him so difficult to guard because he comes cruising downhill off of any drive or like off ball screen or on ball screen, right? And then he just comes screaming down the lane. And if you bump him at all, because he's so good at shooting that little floater, he'll just draw a shooting foul. And he's knocking down that floater again at 60%. He's getting to the foul line 10 times a game because of that speed that he's attacking with downhill. And guys are just out of position and they're bumping him. He's got the step back three and the pull back three completely dialed in. He's shooting well on the move. He's just looked like an all-NBA player here in the early going of the season. He's just on an absolute heater. And then with VJ Edgecombe, I'm finding it really hard to not get overly excited here. It's becoming undeniable. Like he's scoring in the flow, but he's also scoring on an island. He once again last night hit a couple of really tough buckets against great defense when things broke down, and feels like he gets good separation even on the ones he misses. He's hitting his catch and shoot jumpers at 39%. He's 72% at the rim, which is insane for a guard. That's like prime Giannis type of numbers there. He's driving closeouts and finishing at the rim. He's finishing in transition off of different pieces of footwork and traffic. He's 44% on floaters, and this is a big part of how he can score in action. When he comes curling off the screens, he runs into that rim protection. He can just stop and pop off the ground and hit that little floater. And then again, he's hitting 39% of his off the dribble jump shots, just like he's hitting 39% of his catch and shoot jump shots. So like that's given him the ability to, he's doing the basic stuff in the flow, right? Scoring in transition, scoring off the catch, scoring driving closeouts. But then he's also able to come off of action and hit little floaters. And then every once in a while when the things break down and they need him to go get a bucket, he's getting to his spots, hitting a decent percentage of them, but like also feels like there's this otherworldly potential in the future if he can add a little bit more proficiency in his shot making. He had like a play against Paolo Banchero last night, where he got him on a switch late in the clock off the right wing. It was in the first half. And he just went downhill with this crazy dribble combination into his step back, and Paolo just buckled backwards and VJ got tons of separation and rose up and knocked down a three. He just looks like an awesome player. He's averaging 25 points per game to start the season on 50% from the field and 40% from three in his first 3 games. And he made some big plays on defense in the second half of this game. He had 2 help side defense plays where he blew up possessions. He's averaging 2.5 stocks per game here in the early going. And then one of the revelations of Sixers basketball here in the early going has been Kelly Oubre. In addition to shooting 40% from three, which obviously is super helpful, he's doing some really impressive work on his drives. He got a lot of like one-on-one buckets against Orlando. He's putting his head down and then getting into that short to mid range where he's able to hit these little short jumpers and floaters, and he's getting a lot of self-created buckets. He's 4 for 5 on off the dribble jump shots to start the year. He's yet to miss a mid range, or he's pouring in the mid range against Orlando. He's run 11 pick and rolls, ISOs, and post ups as the handler, including passes, and has generated 17 points, up over 1.5 points per possession. So some really impressive shot creation, albeit in smaller volume, for Kelly Oubre to start the season. And then Quentin Grimes, what he brings that's super dynamic to this team is aggressive catch and shoot shooting. Like, he doesn't need a ton of space. He's good at just elevating over the top. And so he's manufacturing a lot of points and fouls by just being aggressive off the catch when he catches on the 3-point line. Philly has the best offense in the NBA here in the early going. They have a 125 offensive rating. And it's just because they're so damn dynamic on the perimeter. They have a guard in Tyrese Maxey who's playing as well as anyone else in the NBA right now, and 3 freaky athletes that are consistently attacking in space off of him. They're pushing the ball up the floor. Lots of contributions down the bench. Again, like Adam Bona came in and blocked 3 shots in the opening minutes and ended up, I think, with 4 in the game. Just you could just hear it in the broadcast every time, just give me that shit every single time he gets a block, just bringing kind of like energy and rim protection. Justin Edwards hit a couple of huge shots in the second half. He hit a 3 and had a driving tough bucket, a little like right shoulder hook with his left hand over the top of Desmond Bane in crunch time. That was a big shot. We got our first Eric Gordon appearance. He came in, hit a couple of 3s, a deep one, had a driving layup as well where he looked strong and athletic. 3-0 start for the Philadelphia 76ers. I've just been super impressed by them. And again, they're playing a super fun brand of basketball. Like, if you're a basketball fan, you haven't had a chance to watch the Sixers yet, I highly recommend you get yourself to a television at some point on League Pass and check them out here in the next couple of weeks.